All right, welcome to another episode of Salty Sundays. Today we have a very special guest in the studio, aka Porta Pines, Mr. Donnie Mattz, ladies and gentlemen.
Thank you, thank you.
How you doing this morning?
A little tired, but I'm okay.
Yeah, you were at the comedy show last night.
Yeah, it was a good one this time.
Yeah, how'd you like that?
Good, man. I've seen Tom Rhodes before, but
Yeah.
he's always funny. But it's a big step up from the fiasco last time.
Yeah, the great whatever that happened to that guy. I guess rumor was he took a huge dab hit and he just went into another dimension.
Heard a couple different stories, but bottom line is, yeah, he did something.
Well, we appreciate you coming on. Donnie here is a local musician, right now currently a part of the band Snickle Fritz, where
Yes,
you
sir.
play guitar and you do vocals, correct?
That is correct.
Yeah. So how are you enjoying being in this band? I mean, I guess I should start off asking, how many bands have you been in?
Oh, geez, man. I'm an old guy now, so I've been in a few bands.
Yeah.
I don't know, maybe like 10 different bands, but only like 3 that people might know about.
Okay. Nice. Is this your favorite project that you've done so far?
It's hard to say favorite because I really love them all. That's why I
Yeah.
get involved with it. So for a long time, I was a drummer. I still am a drummer, but in this band, I play guitar and sing. But um, this is a bunch of songs I've been writing over the last few years, and um, finally got to record them. Finally got a band to back them. So even though these songs are new to people, I've some of these songs are like 15 years old.
Wow. Yeah, but they're seeing the light of
Because
day.
even though I was drumming for other bands, I was writing my own material on the side, and then finally got a chance to back it and do it now.
Nice. I've actually have seen you guys play, I think twice now, and I love the sound. It's really, I don't want to say grungy, but
It is. There's some influence there, yeah.
yeah, but you could tell, there's some of that there, and I really like, I really like the way it sounds. How would you describe your guys' Snickle Fritz sound?
I always just say hard rock.
Hard rock.
Because it's vague and it covers,
Yeah.
A big area.
Yeah. You guys actually were one of like the first, because we both worked for the casino. Well, the Tribe.
Yeah.
You guys actually played a show at the event center.
Yeah, twice now we've gotten the opportunity. We opened for Richie Ramone, and then just a couple months ago we opened for Alien Ant Farm, and
Yeah.
that went really well. Apparently
Yeah.
it was the first rock show to sell out in the new casino.
Yeah, that show was amazing. Yeah, everyone had only good things to say about it. So
Yeah, that one went well. I was happy about it. People seem to have a good time.
oh yeah.
Because you never know, this is the first time that they're starting to play rock in the casino. Usually it's just country or classic rock covers and stuff like
Right.
that. So I'm happy that it's kind of opened the door for other rock bands to get in there now since it did well.
Heck yeah. Who's all in the band?
Let's see, Mike White's on drums and
Okay.
Rob Jacobs on bass, and I play guitar and sing, so it's just a 3-piece.
Nice. And how did you guys come up with the name Snickle Fritz? Because it's a pretty interesting name.
It's just something my mom used to call me when I was little. If I was
Nice.
being rambunctious or something, she'd say, "Get over here, Snickle Fritz." So it just stuck in my head, and I thought it's hard to find a band name that's unique, so I thought that was pretty unique.
Yeah, I guess if it was like that, my band name would be Little Shithead. No, but that's awesome, man. And it's just cool to see locals doing stuff, any sort of like artistry in the area. I feel like it's just cool to see what comes to be out here. How long have you been a musician for?
Oh man, I guess it started when I was 5. I wanted to play something, and my mom put me in piano lessons.
Okay.
So I did piano lessons from about 5 to 8, and then didn't really stick though. The structured learning kind of soured it for me. So
Gotcha.
I knew I wanted to play something, but I didn't like. It seemed like homework sometimes.
Learning chords and
Yeah.
progressions and all that.
So fast forward to becoming a teenager, and just started teaching myself really on drums and guitar and picking up what other friends of mine were doing, and I found it way more enjoyable just to create my own stuff than to learn structure.
Yeah.
So I got back in love with music when I was a teenager and just haven't stopped since.
Nice. So is that when you pick, like, what was, so aside from, doing the piano for a short bit when you were 5, like, when you were a teenager, what instrument were you drawn to?
Drums.
Drums? Okay. So that was your first kind of love as far as, like, music on your...
Definitely. Even to this day, it's just the funnest instrument to play in my mind. Like, I don't know. For me, I get into a zone when I play where I'm not thinking about any of my stresses or anything like that. You just kind of lose yourself in what you're doing. And especially on drums, you can just let out frustration and stuff. It's a real stress release. So that's the funnest part for me.
Yeah. You just see, when I think of, like, a drummer, I just think of, like, the craziest person in the band. Just the guy who's just, like, liable to, jump, do a front flip off of any object. It's kind of like that wild, frantic energy, and then you just, like, they're just back there just doing their thing.
Yeah, I was never the craziest person in the band, believe it or not. But you wouldn't know it because sometimes when I'm playing on the drums, you think I'd be crazy because I watch myself back sometimes. I'm just going nuts, and I don't even realize I'm doing it.
Like, you ever, like, while you're just playing drums, you ever just, like, want to pull out a gun and just shoot one up in the air and just keep playing, act like nothing happened?
No.
Okay. Well, yeah, I wouldn't do that either. But that'd be cool, though. Well, you know Kill Tony, the show Kill Tony?
Yeah.
They have a segment called Mexican Drum Off where they'll have essentially they have the main guy who does the drums for the band, right? And if a comedian comes up on stage and they go, well, I also play drums, immediately they get to challenge the resident drummer for their spot on the show if they win, and the crowd determines who's going to win. And there's been some crazy duels like that, but
that'd be fun. I wouldn't want that job necessarily, but it'd be fun to have a drum off with somebody that's already got a spot.
Yeah, like there was one time though when the Swedish guy went up there and he totally beat the resident drummer in every technical way. Like, the comments were like, this guy won, but the crowd voted for the resident drummer. So you really would have to, like, do something spectacular to, like, win it.
Yeah, technical doesn't always mean better.
Right.
It depends on what people like.
Yeah. So how old were you when you kind of picked up the guitar? Was that around the same time, or
it was around the same time? So I'd be in a band, and they would leave their instruments at my place because we usually jammed at my place.
Okay.
So on my off time when I wasn't drumming with them, I'd pick up their guitars and just fool around and kind of developed my guitar playing right alongside with my drumming.
Nice. And was that in Crescent City?
To start with, yeah.
Okay.
Yes, it was.
Did you grow up here?
I did. I was born and raised here, and then when I graduated high school, I went into the Army. And
oh, wow.
Kind of moved around a lot up until like 2019 when I moved back here.
Yeah. So you joined the Army when you were, 18, 19?
I signed actually when I was 17 and didn't go in until my 18th birthday.
Wow. What did you pick as your MOS?
It was a 13 mic. It was field artillery.
Oh, wow. So how long did you just do, like, the 4 years or whatever, and then, or?
My contract was for 3 years.
Okay.
And I got out 6 months early to go to college.
Nice.
It's called a college drop if you get accepted to a college near your end time of service. They'll let you out a little early to go to college, so that's what I did.
Heck yeah. So what was your first band? What was the first band you were a part of?
First band was in high school.
Okay.
And we were called Whole Lotta Puddin'.
It's like a Bill Cosby tribute band.
Actually, it stems from a sketch comedy show used to be on MTV called The State.
Okay.
And there was this sketch where they just kept saying over and over again, and that would be a whole lot of pudding. And me and my friends just couldn't stop laughing at it, and we kept saying it to each other. We're like, wouldn't it be funny if that's our band name? And we were stupid enough to do it. So So we did it, and originally I was in exploring band with my buddies in high school, and one of our friends needed an opening band. So a couple of my friends, they knew I drummed, came to me like, "Hey, would you mind drumming for us for this one gig?" And sure, but it ended up being more than one gig, and eventually we ended up playing our high school Safe and Sober.
Nice.
We played there when we graduated, so
Heck yeah.
that was kind of cool.
Did you ever get like any girlfriends or anything from being a part of a band in high school?
Not in high school. No, high school was slim pickings, but college I had my fun. Yeah.
Nice. Heck yeah. Yeah, if I was a girl, I'd probably want to date the drummer. Sometimes I think about that. I just figure I don't want to date the bass player. I don't know why. Something about that.
That's not nice, man.
I know. Well, and then lead singers, I don't want to deal with their ego and stuff like that, offending them. I know you're a lead singer right now, but.
No, I've been a part of bands where the lead singer was a problem.
Yeah.
You get that ego going, yeah.
Yeah, for sure. So, what was your favorite musical influences like as you were growing up?
Oh, as I was growing up, you're subject to your parents' music.
Yeah.
So I'll say the positive things first. My dad was really into Motown.
Okay.
And my mom was really into dance music. So I got a cross between pop and soul and R&B and stuff like that. Really got me going. And he had some Beach Boys records, so a little bit of rock and roll. And but the thing that was negative about it is that they listened to country every morning.
Yeah.
And it just drove me nuts. I hated country for so long.
Well, like Conway Twitty and stuff.
Well, yeah, it was like 80s country, but
Gotcha.
it was local radio stations, so they play the same songs all the time.
Rhinestone Cowboy.
I just wanted to play something so opposite of country. That's what led me into like punk rock and metal and stuff like that.
Nice. So you're a big punk rock and metal guy. Like, is that kind of like your jam? Would you say?
Yeah, I mean, as I get older, I enjoy a lot more different genres now.
Mm-hmm.
But the things that got me going was punk and metal and rock and roll and believe it or not, a lot of hip hop.
Okay.
I listened to a lot of hip hop growing up too. I still do, but those are mostly the genres that I love that got me going.
Yeah. Did you listen to like a lot of grunge and stuff?
Well, of course, because I was in high school when the whole grunge explosion happened.
Yeah.
So it was hard not to be influenced by it, especially getting into music, and then that stuff happens. It's like, it was the first time too in my lifetime. Well, I was only a teenager, but that bands like that were popular, and you could hear them on the radio. Before, you would have to like sneak a cassette from your friend to hear music like that. And then all of a sudden, it was popular. It was on the radio.
Yeah.
You could hear it was everywhere. So it was a really cool time for me.
Yeah.
Just that that was so popular and people loved it.
So, do you remember where you were when Kurt Cobain died?
Oh yeah, I was in my bedroom watching MTV News, and it popped on, and I shed a tear. Like, not that I knew the guy or anything, but it was sad.
Yeah.
And they were one of my favorite bands. Probably my favorite band at that time, probably, because one thing that inspired me to drum a lot was Dave Grohl's drumming. When I saw him drum live,
yeah,
I was like, oh, I want to do that. That's what I want to do.
Yeah, Dave Grohl's amazing.
But yeah, it was sad, and I remember sitting in my bedroom shedding a tear when that happened, and it's still sad to this day.
It is.
You think about what he could have created.
Yeah, there's something about him, like he really is like a timeless character, like Kurt Cobain has been cool and always probably will be cool, like kind of like immortalized, not because of what he did per se, because of who he was, like I think he represents like I don't know, he didn't do punk rock music, but he kind of had a punk rock attitude. Well, he did. I can't say he didn't, like, but his pop, like his high, like the stuff you think of when you hear Nirvana isn't punk rock, but yeah, his early stuff like was more like but I just think that he represented kind of like that, like disengaged kind of like view on the world. Like, I don't know.
He comes off very don't give a fuck.
Yeah, exactly. Like, he didn't give a fuck, and I think that attitude was part of a bigger cultural shift that many young people were adapting and still are, which I think is why he's always going to be a figure in that realm.
No, it's funny too. Like, you hear that he didn't really like being a rock star, but he was like the most rock star guy because he didn't care, So
right.
he ended up doing what he didn't want to do, even though,
Yeah, you hear stories like he'd be like, he didn't want to buy a super nice car because he thought it was embarrassing.
Yeah.
You know, which is, to me, that shows a guy who's like being true to his character,
Yeah.
right?
Never bought new clothes.
Yeah. Yeah, he had all this money, you know, he just spent it all on drugs, you know? It's kind of like a president, right? Like, the guy who would probably be best at being president is the guy that doesn't want to be president, you know, and is just true to his nature, you know?
Yeah, that's probably true. I can see that.
Yeah. But anyway, so I remember you telling me a very interesting story about K-Slug.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
So me and my band Relapse, this is probably early 2000s. K-Slug just started, and they wanted to feature local bands, and we ended up being, I think if we weren't the first, we were one of the first ones to be played on there on K-Slug when it first started.
That's awesome.
Yeah, I still have recordings of it.
Yeah,
I'll show you sometime.
Yeah, we got to get those recordings. Maybe if all works out, we'll be able to feature some on the episode. That'd be kind of cool. Like if you were to send me a file.
Yeah.
Or
Is
something.
K-Slug even a thing anymore?
Oh yeah, it is. 93.1. Yeah.
Well, big up to K-Slug for
Yeah.
putting us on when we first started.
Those guys are awesome over there because I could tune that on, and it's not always available every day for some reason. Sometimes it's like static, and sometimes it's not. But they have like really good indie music on there, like cool rock music, like
Cool.
yeah, like, and they're just doing their thing. So
No, I haven't heard him in a long time. Like, I went to college in that area, so I listened to him a lot then.
yeah,
But that was 20 years ago now.
right, man. So yeah, we're happy to have you on, man. And just like it's so cool, like what bands like you guys, and I mean, of course, Mighty Steel is a way different sound than you guys, but I think it's just cool, like, you know, to see like local bands, especially coming into the casino, like, you know, because that's where I work as a bartender there, and you see a lot of bands coming in and doing the shows in the event center, but to see local bands coming in and building like a local following, and they're coming to the shows and supporting, and then you guys are like booking shows at like Enoteca and, you know, all the sorts of, hopefully the new Porta Pints when it's built, like,
For sure.
I just think that's freaking awesome, man.
Shout out to the Steelheads, too. I love those guys. And
Yeah.
they're actually the first local band to do a show all by themselves and do well in the big big stage in the casino.
They have really turned it up a few notches over the course of the last 2 years that I've been hearing them in and out of the casino. You know, they're really getting more into their, I feel like, into their artistry and trying different
Oh,
cool
yeah.
stuff.
They're doing 4-part harmonies now.
Yeah, I know. I hear that. I'm just like, that's
I was like,
amazing.
Jesus. That takes a lot of time, man, to
Yeah.
get all that worked out. And they hit it, and they sound great. I've heard them play it probably a dozen times now, and I have a good time every time I hear them.
What's your songwriting process? You know, if you could walk us through that.
A lot of times it begins with a riff that just sounds kind of catchy to me.
Do you have that in your head, or do you just kind of playing around the guitar and you're like, oh, I like that?
Both. Sometimes it's just something that's ringing in my head. Sometimes I'll just pick up the guitar and fool around and find something
Gotcha.
that I think sounds good to me. And I just I try to write songs that I want to hear.
Yeah.
Kind of selfish, but I write songs that I'm not hearing, like on the radio or something I'm searching for. I'll just make it up myself.
Yeah.
And so I'll just build off of a riff or maybe a rhythm that I got and just keep building and just add pieces here, pieces there. And then lastly, I'll put lyrics to it to finalize it. But it's all about the riff.
Gotcha. So, yeah. So you'll just kind of build off that, and then how long does it take you to, you know, is the lyric part usually very relatively short, you know, compared to the rest of the process, or do you take a lot of time, you know, trying to write your lyrics?
Well, I guess both. There'll be like on this last record I did, I needed one more song, and it just came to me really fast, and I whipped it out really fast, and ended up working. But some of my songs are just riffs. Some of them were riffs that I've had for like 15 years.
Wow.
Never added lyrics to it until I went into the studio.
Gotcha.
So then it became an actual song.
Yeah. No, that's awesome. Do you guys does Snicklefritz have like any music out there like available on
Yeah, so on our Facebook, I believe you can find all of our music.
Okay, and nice. We'll have to check that out because are you guys gonna like plan on going on like maybe Spotify or Apple Music or anything like that?
Yeah, we have plans to branch out, and we're working on that. The problem is we all got full-time jobs.
Yeah.
And
that.
families. And so we're lucky to be able to play like once a week.
Yeah.
So sometimes it's slow going as far as progress, but we're having fun and we still love doing it. So we do it for the love.
Yeah.
But yeah, I think all of our stuff's on Facebook, even some live cuts and stuff like that. You can find out when we're playing next and all that.
Heck yeah. Do you guys find you're getting booked more and more these days, or?
Well, there's only a couple places to play here.
Well, yeah.
So we've been going back and forth from the casino to Inateca right now, and we've been talking about branching out, going to Humboldt, going to Brookings. We just got to line up our schedules and find a way to do it.
That's got to be the hard part, especially the band. You got 3 guys, 3 busy schedules, and it's like, okay, well, someone's going to have to take some time off work or finagle something around. I know because Rory and I did the podcast, and we definitely struggle trying to find time to like record because we do our own on top of this. We do like the Salty Sundays with the boys, and that could be at any time, So
isn't that what we're doing?
So this one's Salty Sunday. So Salty Sundays it's just one page, but we have Salty Sundays. This is like when I interview one person a week, and so today you're our guest, obviously local musician, but on the same channel, we also have Salty Sundays with the boys. That's just me and Rory, and we just do.
So I've seen a couple of those episodes.
Yeah,
you guys are great.
Yeah, we just riff. We just kind of BS, and
it's funny sometimes the path you guys go down, and
we share one brain cell. Sometimes it feels like.
Sometimes when you guys laugh at nonsense, I'll be cracking up myself while sitting all by myself.
Heck yeah! No, we love that. Yeah. It's always fun to record it, It's just like you put it out there, you just wonder, is anyone gonna actually hear this? So it's good to hear feedback.
No, I know a couple people that watch you guys.
Nice, yeah. Man, so what do you think your most popular, like, what do you think the closest you ever came to like, having like a breakout success was?
I mean, never really had any major breakout success. I guess the most popular band and the most progress we got was with Relapse. That was when I was in college, and we were a band from like 2000 to 2003. And during that time, we went on a month-long tour, touring half the United States, and we were part of a big festival called Summerfest, and things were going well for us. It seemed like every show, at least, we had like a hardcore base of fans. Like 50 people would show up no matter what we did.
Nice.
And that was not to say that it was only 50 people, but we had fans that would show up to every show.
No, yeah.
And then I guess we had an offer one time from a record company in Phoenix, Arizona, and they wanted to promote and produce a ballad we had done. And
it's always the ballad.
Yeah, and it rubbed us the wrong way because we considered ourselves punk rockers, and we kind of did like post-grunge kind of stuff. And,
yeah.
And we had one slow song, and that's the one thing they wanted to do. We're like, man, we don't want to be known for that one slow song when everything else we played was, harder.
Yeah.
So as a collective group, we were actually traveling through Phoenix, Arizona on our tour, and we decided not to go meet the record exec. Turned that down, and that ended up being our only offer we ever got. So in retrospect, we should have given it a chance, but we were too bullheaded, thought we were too punk rock for it. So
yeah, you stuck to your values, which is admirable, but it does leave you wondering, what would have happened, what could have happened.
And it's funny, like I don't consider that to be like a huge band or nothing, but I still get people coming up to me going, man, you were in Relapse, that was a great band. Yeah. To this day, it's like 20 years later, I'm like, Jesus, you remember that? And I've heard also that there's a pirate radio station in Humboldt that still plays our records.
Okay.
So we're still
Heck
getting
yeah.
airplay. It's weird.
Local legends.
Well, I guess. I mean, I didn't think we were that big, but people still remember us. So
Hey, if people are still bringing
something.
it up that much later, like you had an impact for sure. 20 years ago, man, and it's crazy to even think of how much music has changed. You know, had that band been around today, you know, with the way that streaming works and self-advertisement works, who knows what could have happened.
Yeah, different times.
Yeah.
We would have different avenues to pursue. Yeah.
Because back then the underground was truly still existed. Nowadays, nothing is really underground. I mean, it's all underground in a way, but it's above ground. It's like
Back then, it was mostly word of mouth, and the bands that were cool were bands that were underground, and you just told your friend about, check these guys out. You know, give
Yeah.
them, like you'd hand off a cassette or a CD, like check these guys out, and you couldn't get it like on the internet or anything like that. You could only get it from your friends.
yeah.
So that was a cool time that I was a part of, where it was truly word of mouth, and you only got cool music from your friends.
Yeah, and porn was accessed a lot differently as well.
Oh yeah.
You used to have to, you know, maybe then you got a DVD. 2002, you might have probably got a DVD.
Well, yeah, but I was in
you had a
college.
VHS most
I was
likely.
in college at that point, so I could buy my own porn, but
Oh yeah.
but but when I was a kid and you know, start going through puberty, for sure you'd get like a magazine from your friend. You'd hand it off. Check this out. Check this
Yeah.
out. I got a funny story too. So my parents would send me to summer camp every year, a Christian summer camp for
Yeah.
a week, and my mom would go through my whole bedroom, clean it,
God.
throw out things that I don't use, and get rid of clothes that I've outgrown, stuff like that. And she found my porn stash, magazines that I had hidden underneath my dresser, and it was the most awkward conversation. She sat me down and goes, "Now, honey, I know that you're a boy and you're curious, and it's totally natural. I found your stash. It's totally normal for a boy your age. I don't want to shame you." And I'm just like, oh, it was the most uncomfortable thing. Like, oh, stop talking about it. Stop talking about it. But yeah, she found my porn stash, and I was like, I was probably in 7th or 8th grade.
That's hilarious. Yeah, that's an awkward conversation to have. You're like, all right, can we just not talk about it?
Yeah. Other than that,
Oh, whoa, where did these come from? All of a sudden, out of nowhere. That's amazing how something like that can happen. So what were you telling us about this filthy pornography habit of yours?
oh, just how, you know, when you're a kid, you hear about, like, your friend's dad has, like, a porn on VHS, and you beg your friend to borrow it, you know, and that's how, you know, I saw my first actual video.
Heck yeah.
Because there was no internet, so.
Man. I remember the first time I ever came across pornographic material. I was about like, I was probably 7, maybe 8, and I walked out into my living room where we had a computer, right? And on the computer was this binder with gold pages. You know what I'm talking about? Like the gold, like, you know, you see a book and it has like the gold.
The rings on the outside of it?
Yeah, it's like gold. So I was curious.
This was on the computer?
This was just this was a physical photo album sitting
gotcha.
in front of the computer. So I go up to it. What is this? And I open it, and it's very artistic black and white nudes of my mom.
Oh, man. You scarred for life?
I was so scarred, dude. And the crazy thing is, I flipped through all the pictures. I don't know why. I was just a kid, and I was just like, nah, 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 nah. I was like, all right, that was all the same thing. Maybe I thought it was going to change or something. But, you know, the backstory to that was my mom had just gotten a breast implant. Well, two breast implants.
2 would be preferred to
Yeah,
one,
so she could only afford one at a time, so she got first one. But, yeah, that was the first time I ever saw, like, a naked person.
Oh,
you know?
man, it has to be your mom?
Yeah.
That's rough.
And I'm just like, why do you guys just have this out right here? You know, why is this accessible? Like, you know?
That's true.
There's kids here.
Why would you leave that out if you got kids? Yeah.
Yeah. But, you know, it is, you live and you learn, you know? I never even told my mom that I saw that. You know, it's like, hey, so I found some interesting material.
Yeah, you just want to forget about it.
Yeah, no, never. You'll never forget about it.
Yeah, certain things you can't unsee.
No, you can't. Oh well. Um, yeah. So, what's the kind of the craziest story you've had as a musician? It could be like something you saw or something that happened to you, or
I have a crazy story, but it doesn't really have anything to do with being a musician.
oh yeah, let's hear it.
All right. Craziest story of my life. So, I was in the Army, and I was getting ready to take leave and come back and get married. Married my high school sweetheart, and so we're having like a little pre-party. I was leaving the next day. My buddies come over, and we're drinking, smoking weed, and eventually we started just flicking pennies at each other and being a little rambunctious. Well, I guess we're making too much noise for the neighbors. Neighbors called the cops on us, but didn't know it was the cops at first, so we get this hard knock on our door. I thought it was one of my buddies. I'm like, come in. They don't come in. It knocks again. I'm like, you gotta turn the handle. Like just being a smart ass. Finally get up and go to the door. Realize it's the cops, and I immediately sober up. I'm like, yes, officer, what can I do for you? Like, oh, we got a noise complaint. If you guys can keep it down. And then as I go to close the door, he stops me, and he looks at his partner that I didn't even see around the corner. He goes, we got a scent. And they come in, they raid my whole apartment, put my buddy in handcuffs. Well, first, when my buddy saw the cops come in, he takes out his bag of weed and just throws it on the coffee table and goes, that's all I got, I swear.
Oh my God.
Put him in handcuffs. And I'm like, oh man, I'm supposed to leave the next day to go get married, right?
Oh.
And they're cuffing us up and everything. And I'm sitting there freaking out, and I could tell one of the guys was in charge, and I go, can I talk to you outside? Like, and I go to him, and I'm begging him, like, look, I'm supposed to go get married tomorrow. Like, is there anything I can do? And he goes, well, there is something. He sits us all down. There was me and two other buddies sit us on the couch, and he goes, we got a big prostitution problem in Lawton, Oklahoma. Lawton was the town right next to Fort Sill where I was stationed. I had my own apartment off base. And we got a big prostitution problem. If you guys could help us, go undercover and get prostitutes to say, they're selling sex for money. And I'm like, sure, I'm like, whatever I have to do. I don't care. Yes, I'll do that. Fine. Let's let me leave tomorrow so I can go get married. Like all these plans and money you spent on a wedding, and all your family's going to be there.
Yeah.
So he let me go. Fine. When you get back, you come see me, and we're going to go do this. So. Go home, get married, come back, go see the officer or whatever, and me and my two buddies, and they put this. We go to a massage parlor, and they put this ridiculous, huge, ridiculous watch that had a mic on it, but it stood out so much, like it was almost obvious. So the first massage parlor we go to, my buddy goes in, and we're listening in the cop car because we could hear everything.
They had you in there listening too?
We went in one at a time, so there's only one watch. So my buddy goes in. We're sitting in the cop car listening through his watch what was going on, and the girl must have known what was up because she just gave a regular ass massage. Just nothing else, no extras, didn't ask anything, just gave a regular massage. And that was bullshit because that massage parlor does more than that.
Yeah.
My buddies went there all the time, and I knew that they did more than that. So they must have known what was up. So we had to bail on that place, and we went to another massage parlor. And this time it was my turn to go in. So I put on the stupid watch and went in. And she's just kind of rubbing my shoulders, putting oil on me, and she's like, "Oh, do you want more than this? You want more than that?" I'm like, "Yeah, what are you talking about?" She goes, "Well, it's 60 for a blowjob and 100 for sex." And I'm like, "Really? 60 for a blowjob and 100 for sex, you say?" And she's like, "Yeah." I'm like, "Okay, well, I need to go pull out cash. There's an ATM next door. I'm gonna go pull out cash, and I'll be right back." So I leave. As soon as I go out the door, all the cops raid the massage parlor. They had the madam in handcuffs, everybody. And then the next day, front page news, it said, Sunset Massage Parlor shut down due to military sting.
Oh, damn, dude. Holy crap. And that's just like, wow. And so when you were at your wedding, and you're like, did you tell your wife that?
I did.
When we get back, I'm gonna have to go do some prostitution stuff.
I even told my parents, and when I told my
Oh
dad,
God.
my dad just goes like this. He goes, "Son, I don't know how you do it, but you get away with everything."
Damn. And it was just a huge watch. It's just like this huge. Just got like a radar on it. It's like.
So that's probably the craziest story I can tell.
That is an absolutely crazy story. Holy crap.
That was
I didn't know where that was going. When he said, "Oh, there's something you could do," I was like, "Wait, where's this story going?" Wow. And wow. It's like I wonder what happened to them. I wonder, like if people obviously did jail time, prison time.
Yeah. They all got arrested, and I'm sure they got bailed out at some point, but their massage parlor was no more.
Yeah, and it all started with a noise complaint. Well, there's something you boys could do. Wow.
Stupid noise complaint.
Now, what if you would have like, what if like they didn't hear you, the watch stopped working, so then you just like are just sitting there getting a blowjob?
Well,
no.
no.
You're like, get in here now.
You weren't. They told us you weren't supposed to engage. You just got to get them saying it and then leave.
Okay. You're like, yeah, nothing to see there. Those are just a regular massage parlor. You're like, I'll need $60, by the way.
Right.
Damn, man. That is a wild story. And, like, the audacity of the police just to, like, I guess that's cool. It actually worked out for you pretty well.
Well, yeah, I was freaking out. I thought the wedding's done. I'm going to jail. I'll probably get kicked out of the Army now, too.
How old were you?
I was 20.
Just a kid.
19 or 20. Yeah.
Just a kid.
Yeah.
The cop's like, I'm going to make good use of you.
Well, it worked out because I ended up getting an honorable discharge.
Nice.
So that always is a good thing to have on your resume, and ended up being able to get married and everything. So it all worked out, but I would have done anything to not go to jail and not get kicked out of the Army. So.
Well, yeah, that would be just the worst way for that whole thing to end.
But that's what's going through your head when you're getting arrested by cops. It's like,
you're like, oh, I'm gonna get dishonorably discharged. It's gonna be something that's gonna follow you around for the rest of your life. I've only met one guy ever who's been dishonorably discharged, and I just was thinking like, man, like that's like having like a felony. Might as well just having to explain that to everybody.
What sucks is all my buddies that I smoked weed with ended up having a hot drug test. They didn't pass the drug test, and they got dishonorably discharged.
Damn.
I was the only one in my crew that was able to smoke and get out clean.
So you were pretty much able to smoke your entire time you were in it.
Well, it would be here and there. It wasn't that I smoked it all the time. It would be like at certain occasions.
Gotcha.
I would smoke with them, but
you weren't like wake and bake, get into a helicopter and just start.
Back then it was just every once in a while, maybe every couple months, we'd get a bag and have one night of fun.
Yeah, it's a good old time. Wow, that's pretty cool though. That's a pretty unique story. I'm sure when you saw that huge watch, you're just like, really, this is the watch? This is the technology. This is the advanced.
It was ridiculous.
Technology we have.
No. And what sucked is it was Oklahoma weed, so it was horrible. It was all sticks. It was like brown weed with sticks and seeds. But it was hard to find back then. Like there was no dispensaries or nothing, so you just had to get whatever you could get.
Especially in a place like Oklahoma.
Yeah, so you
smoking that tumbleweed.
If you found something, you were happy.
When I lived in Mexico, everyone's heard of Mexican brickweed.
Bammer.
Yeah, exactly. And we used to. In Mexico, you actually have weed of lesser quality of that, and they called it mota de tierra, like dirt weed, dirt weed of the earth. And I remember one time, my buddy. So I used to live in Mexico, back when I lived in Mexico when I was like 15 and 16, and I used to cross the border from Tijuana into San Diego every day to go to school.
Oh yeah, you've told
Yeah,
me about this. Yeah.
yeah. So I'll wake up in the morning. I would walk. Me and my homie Antonio would walk to the line. We'd wait. It'd be about an hour, hour and a half. Cross over, take the train to the bus station, and go to school in Chula Vista, San Diego. Well, one time we picked up some weed, some of that dirt weed, and we smoked it. This is in Mexico. And then we did that all the time. The next day we wake up, we meet up, and we go to school. And we get to the line, and the way it works is there's usually there's an outside part of the line, right? And that's like nothing. But then you get to the inside building where you're still waiting in line, and that's where they have more heavy security and everything like that. And we're in there, and we do this every day, so it's no big deal. They bring out the German Shepherds, the dogs, and that's just normal occurrence. But what happened this time was the dogs ran right up to us, went right in front of me and sat down. And I'm thinking, I'm like shitting bricks, dude. I'm like 15, 16. Like, this is terrifying. And I look at Antonio, and we look at each other, and we're like, we don't really know why these dogs are like this. And I'm dressed like a skater boy. Like, just that's kind of how I dressed when I was a kid. And then my friend Antonio's dressed like a Mexican cartel gangster. So they look at him, and they look at me, and they go, "You keep walking to me." And they told Antonio, "You come with us." So I keep walking, and I pass. I go through the X-ray, and I get out of the border, and I get onto the train outside, and I look in my pockets, and I have a bunch of weed in my pocket still. I forgot to take it out of my pocket from the night before. So I waited about an hour at the train station after I got off to get the bus, and Antonio eventually showed up, and they cavity searched his ass and everything like that. But yeah.
Well, pretty fortunate that you were the one that they let go.
I know. Thank you, white privilege, right?
Oh, man.
Like, damn, that was definitely an example of like they just stereotyped us.
Yeah.
They probably didn't even think we were together because of
Oh.
how differently we looked. You
Right.
know, like
That makes sense.
we looked like we wouldn't even be in the same. Like, I was the only white kid that lived in Mexico crossing into the States. Like, it wasn't that heard of.
Wow.
How long you been back in Crescent City?
So I moved back in 2019.
Okay.
So I was gone for a good 20 years, just about.
And how's life been for you since you got back?
Pretty good, man. Like, it's funny how you change as you get older, because when I was younger, I couldn't wait to get out of this tiny town. Like, I want to go out and explore the world, and there just wasn't enough to do here, and
Yeah.
so I couldn't wait to leave. But then something happened. I turned 40, and I really missed my folks, my family, my brother. Like, I'd only see them like 2 or 3 times a year when I'd come back to visit, and and I've been living in big cities, and just had enough of it. And my mindset was finally right to where I could enjoy being in a small town again and really enjoy that kind of life.
Yeah.
And plus, you don't know how long your parents are going to be here.
Yeah.
So I didn't want to be somewhere else if one of them passed. And,
See him a couple times a year, and then something
yeah, and like
happens.
my brother's like my best friend, so I wanted to be around him more too. So I was finally ready. I was just ready, and then I saw a house come up for rent, and it was a really good deal. So I applied for it and got accepted. Thought, well, it's all falling in line. It's time. So
Yeah. No, that's awesome, man. Yeah, you seem like you're happy. Like life's
definitely.
going well.
No, I'm like I said, I'm in a time in my life where I really enjoy the small town living now. It suits me well. It's just less stress and everything, and yeah.
Heck yeah. Well, man, we appreciate you being on and taking your time and hanging out with us.
Anytime, man. Anytime.
And we'll definitely have you on again, and maybe next time you have a show or something like that, we'll get some footage for the.
Well, coming up April 5th, we're booked at Inoteca.
April 5th.
We're going to be doing a 2-hour show.
Sweet, man.
So plenty of
be there,
Snickle Fritz.
Salty Sundays fans. April 5th, Inoteca, Snickle Fritz. And yeah, anything else you want to shout out or bring up or mention or anything like that?
No, just keep doing what you guys are doing, man.
Thank you.
I'm really proud of you guys. The podcast is going great. I enjoy watching it. I'm sure you'll just get more and more fans as it goes on. So keep trucking, you guys.
All right. This is another episode of Salty Sundays. We hope you at home have a great whatever day I release this on. Thank you, Donnie.
Yeah, no problem.